Hello, my name is Preston Myers, or as you may know, the at-home historian because I'm too lazy to go touch grass. This is my first video, and I just want to quickly touch on a very forgotten point of human history, and especially World War II history, and that is the nights of February 13th to the 15th of 1945 in Dresden, Germany. So before we get into that, I want to ask you a simple question. What is the first thing you hear of? What is the first thing you think of when you hear the phrase World War II? Some of you may consider Adolf Hitler and his horrible reign of Nazi Germany, or the destruction he did during the Holocaust, or even maybe just the technology and how long the war was, and even how deadly it was. It was one of the most deadly ones in our history. All great points. I respect that you're going there, of course. But I want to direct your attention quickly to a popular belief that is generally understood amongst, let's say, most Americans. Good versus evil, Allies versus Axis. Why do I bring this up? Because the Allies, relatively speaking, were seen as like the good of the war, the good side. And the Axis were seen as the evil and the despicable people, which of course has some merit because of the Holocaust and many other instances. But I will say that the Allies had committed just as many war atrocities, and this is where I want to get into the Dresden Bombings of 1945. Little backstory. Dresden, Germany is one of the biggest cities in Germany. It is located in the region of Saxony in eastern Germany, about an hour or so south of Berlin, the capital. Dresden, during World War II, was the seventh largest city in Germany, and had a little over 600,000, 615,000 people in it. And you may think, oh yeah, that's a pretty big city. But then you have to look at how it wasn't just a big city. It had surreal importance to the Nazi regime. It was the biggest hub for communications and in industry in the eastern half of Germany. And it was a big bridge between central and western Germany to the eastern front. So almost everything ran through Dresden that had to relate to Germany and their war efforts. So this city had massive importance to the Nazi regime. And this is where we get into our story. Really quickly, in January of 1945, two men from the British Royal Air Force, the one on the left, Sidney Buffton, the director of bombing operations, and the man on the right, Sir Norman Bottomley, the deputy chief and air marshal, had cooked up a plan to speed up the process that the Soviet Union would be able to dominate Germany, because they were losing on both fronts, but they were digging their heels and making it really tough for the Allies to advance after Normandy. So this plan was eventually brought to the Yalta Conference of 1945 in early February. Plans between the Allies of what to do with Germany, how to go about it next, and Japan, of course. And this is where this plan came into the fray. The Soviet Union, the United States, and the UK had decided to bomb some strategic areas in Germany, mainly Leipzig and Berlin. But in secret, the United States and the United Kingdom had decided to also bomb Dresden, as they saw the massive importance to it and the sheer numbers, the sheer importance it had to the Nazi regime. But I will say, just keep this note in the back of your head, of course. Dresden, Germany at this time in 1945 had almost 600,000 refugees from all portions of either Germany, Poland, or the Eastern Front. So this city was home to very close to 1.2, 1.3 million people at this time. And 90% of these people probably had nothing to do with the Nazi regime or the war efforts. In the night, over 2,500 tons of bombs and incendiaries were dropped on the city of Dresden by the UK and British Royal Air Force. The following days, over 1,500 tons were dropped on the city. And as you can see from the picture, of course, you can see the absolute devastation this had on the city, on just one part of the town. As of some reports from the German The German parliament in 2010 had as many as 200 to 300,000 dead. Over 75,000 buildings were just completely destroyed and uninhabitable. All I wanted to share was this important but devastating event of World War II that is usually overshadowed by the Holocaust or by Normandy or the Allies taking Berlin. But I appreciate you being here today, and have a great day.